We've got some
Hey,
fresh new
I'm
young
Luis.
talent
And
doing some
I'm
things that I
Luis.
know you haven't
And you're
heard
listening to the
before.
Content is Profit podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Content is Profit. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in this whole year. It's been amazing, especially these last couple months. A lot of you have reached out, downloaded our stuff in bizbros.co/monetize. A couple guys and frameworks that hopefully will help you move the needle forward. And can't wait to, see what do we do next year? We're just walking out and had a couple of like dream moments, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Great. It's gonna be a good year.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be a dad,
that too.
so that's good. Yeah, that's definitely gonna make it a good, interesting year.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait.
Yeah. So
All
what
right,
else?
anyways.
What do you say you wanted to talk about on today's episode?
Well, I think, we just had like probably one of the last calls that we had with someone in the studio, and it's somebody that we met at a mastermind with a very, very incredible message, right? He has a very interesting story, I think unique to him, but also to a lot of people. I think it's a problem. And he just had this fire that he wanted to get the message out. So we jumped on and we almost like workshopped it out with him for a couple hours. And he was very grateful that we were able to do it. And so I want to break down a little bit of, what he wanted to do, and hopefully will help somebody listening here, because we've seen that story many times.
Define the problem.
In 10 minutes or less.
All right, let's do first. Define the problem.
Find the problem. Big message, lack of direction maybe on how he wants to like put the message out there. But at the same time, he wants to make this a lasting business with a big impact.
Yeah. Big message, not quite an offer yet. He has done certain things here and there that he's been able to monetize.
Yeah.
But he knows which direction he does not want to go, but he doesn't quite know which direction he wants to go. So a little bit of challenge in there.
Yeah.
And then he did share with us that he had a little bit of the perfectionist mindset, right, when it comes to things, and that he kind of like in a way was waiting for the right thing that he could put out there. Now, some of the constraints or not, actually, I don't think it was a constraint, but one of the circumstances around him was that he's not in, immediate need of big cash flow. So I think that personally allows him to build something more solid, with more foundation. And again, very motivated, very inspired, which is definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
So now that we have the problem, what is the goal? What does he want to achieve?
Well, I think initially he mentioned a consistent system of publishing, but also he came, I think, with the mindset of, hey, I want to learn more about podcasting and like what the platform can do, but also he hasn't really published much, right? And I think we've had this conundrum with a few people behind, including our own brother, and I think that's one of the stories that we share, and somewhere in the episode. In the episodes that we share that too in detail. But, I think the goal was like to start getting his message out so he can get the reps in and identify really what the main topics or those like columns that he can lean on for the bigger platform. Right.
Yeah. I think how I interpreted the goal throughout the conversation was definitely he wants to develop a sound business model that he is going to enjoy, that he's going to love delivering. So he talked about doing coaching previously, but he actually sounded like he was felt out of love with that coaching that he was doing, in a sense, just because of the type of audience that he was targeting to. And again, it's a very delicate topic. We're going to leave that. I think we're going to leave that out of the conversation today, but it's a delicate topic. So the people that he was serving at first, he wasn't very, I would say, it was not just the route that he wanted to do. He wants to help them, but he sees his impact. The bigger impact can be done in a different way. So again,
it was taking a lot of energy from him.
Yeah, a lot of energy.
So it wasn't really enjoying the work that he was doing.
Yeah, it wasn't leading to, again, an offer that can actually help, the people that he wants to help. So I think goal for him was yes, he wanted to understand obviously what the podcast could do for him and all that stuff. But I think he wanted direction on what can my offer be? You know, he wanted to hear some options and things that he could bounce around. But I think the conversation took a interesting turn, right? Because I mean, personally, I don't believe there's one size fits all solution for anybody. You know, everybody's going to have their unique challenges, and, you know, there's different methodologies that can serve you and your business. And for example, we have the 6-figure platform, right? That is our methodology with the podcast and leveraging those relationships. But what we noticed with him, I feel like, was, you know, the underlying challenge was he has this big message, but he has this resistance to putting his message out there because it could cause very negative reactions in a segment of the audience that he will be talking about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he cares so much. Like, he genuinely cares so much about what he's building and, you know, his message and the people that he wants to help, that he's afraid of not putting out the best possible thing, right? He mentioned
that he was a perfectionist.
And he mentioned opportunity cost. He's like, when I learned about opportunity cost, which is, you know, what is the next best alternative that you're giving up because you're choosing to do something else right now? He mentioned that. He said, as soon as I learned that when I was in school, I was like, I was like petrified.
Yeah.
And it's a genuine fear, right? And that is because I think I attribute that to how much he cares about the people. So when we discovered that, we're like, okay, tell me the steps that you've taken before, right? The things that you have done.
Yeah.
And it kind of seemed that he was stuck in this idea space, right? Where he has these all good ideas. He's done the research. He's done the education. He's talked to, you know, certain people here and there. He's helped people here and there, but he doesn't quite deliver on the, he hasn't implemented any of the ideas, you know, in full force.
Yeah.
So the example that I gave him, I was like, right, tell me which idea is more valuable. A $1 billion idea that stays an idea forever, or a $1 idea that gets implemented and actually produces that physical $1 bill of value, you know, in your pocket. And he just laughs. He's like, you know, of course, the $1 one, right?
Yeah.
And I think many of us are in that spot. So for him, again, based on his circumstances, that he doesn't need cash right now, he doesn't really, well, this is what we told him. This is our opinion, right? You don't really need to go into launch a coaching offer, high ticket coaching or high ticket service immediately.
Yeah.
Because you had the benefit that you can have a little more discovery with your customers. You can go and have conversations. Conversations are going to generate opportunities. They're going to generate feedback. They're going to tell you what you want. So then the conversation turns into how do you generate conversations? So what do we say? How do you, at least on our end, right? What was the approach that we told him that, hey, this is what worked for us. What we believe it works for some people as well. It might work for you. What is that approach?
Yeah. So, you know, we started kind of bigger picture with pipeline platform, right? I think what we talked about it in the show before, but it's like the concept of bringing somebody into your, almost like your content house, right? Like for us is our podcast, like this is our platform, and you establish that relationship. The meeting point is the content, not interviewing that person, but having a legit conversation and about whatever topic. So both of you are authority, but you also build the trust with that person, right? Like you are standing as an equal. And then after that conversation is transitioning to how can we collaborate, right? And then at that point, opportunities open up. Some of the opportunities that we've seen in the industry and that has happened to us is, you know, speaking engagements, joint ventures, potential customers, referrals, like all these things, right? And the idea is to make sure that we're consistent with it and systematize it in a very genuine way, right? We've seen a lot of stuff out there that might feel and it seems like very fishy, but at the same time, we got to be consistent. There's like a level of like a operational level at that can take some resources apart from the production itself, right? If we go to the 6 levers, right? Like the what to say, obviously you have that, the conversation, the creation, where do I create these podcasts, the production, like how do I produce this thing? How do we distribute? So it does become a little bit resource intensive. So after that, we're like, okay, well, the initial friction point is, how can we be consistent? And if you go back and download invisalign.co/monetize, you see the minimal viable content guide right there. That's going to help you out. You're going to see the publishing pyramid. You're going to be able to study and workshop out kind of like your own resources to move things forward. But for him was initially, he resonated a lot to putting his own message initially out there and putting the reps with, we share the example of the 45 live, right? Going live for 45 days.
Yeah.
Like lower the friction as much as possible, right? And we share with him a couple of the frameworks that we've used back in the day. So to grab traction, I mean, the first 45 live that we did, after 15 days, we connected with somebody that we ended up working with them, launching the service that we still offer 5 years later. And that was our first big offer that we did. I think with that specific client was almost $80,000, which, it kickstarted the business journey for us.
Yeah. So I think he really liked the idea of the 45 live as a way of working on his craft and working on his message.
Yeah.
Which is frictionless, right? At the end of the day, it's like, when we started the podcast, Content is Profit, it was pretty much content is profit, the way to the frictionless sale, right? Which is you start, our whole idea was to remove friction from everything in our life, pretty much, right? And the 45 Live was a way to publish your message by removing the friction of having to edit, having to think too much about it. So quick pointers that we gave him that can be valuable for you is first, the rule of the 1%, right? Quick example is this investor doesn't invest more than 1% of his net worth into any deal that he does. If everything goes wrong on that deal, he only loses 1% of his net worth. If things go well, he can literally double his net worth. So look into investing that 1% into things that, high in leverage, like for example, content. So that applies to his content. We told him, hey, dude, you can do the 45 live in 15 minutes of your day. If you do the math, 15 minutes is actually 1% of your 24-hour day. So if you invest 1% of your day into content, at worst, it flops, but you actually got to practice the skill of communicating your ideas. You get better. It's a some positive game. At best, the piece of content goes viral, massive leverage, right, through social media, and then you get a lot of exposure with your message. So in a way, it's a win-win situation. I think he really liked that. Next pointer that we told him was, hey, once you start talking, you're going to realize that, maybe you run out of topics to say, things to say, and you're going to be like, well, you're going to tell yourself, I already talked about that. Guess what? We told him, you are the only one that listens to 100% of your message. Yeah. The fact that you said something a week ago doesn't mean that if you say it today, the same people are going to hear the same thing. And I argue if the same exact people are the ones that listen to the message again, I would argue it's something positive because now you're reinforcing that thought on them. But more likely, it's going to be new people that are going to come across your content, or either different followers that didn't see you before, or new people that don't follow you. They're going to discover you. So don't be afraid to share your message. You are the only one that listens to 100% of your message. And the last tip, which is pretty much like our motto, quality of the message over quality of the production. That's why you go live. You don't really have to worry too much about production. Don't have to worry too much about anything. You just hit live, pick a topic, talk about it, start working on your communication skills, press publish, and it's out into the world. So that is a way for you to first practice your communication skills, nail down your message, listen from feedback from the people that are watching or engaging with you. Again, at worst, let's say nobody comments or engages with you. You still get to practice your skill of communicating your idea. And there's something pretty cool that happens when you turn your ideas and your thoughts into words, right? Like you actually start reflecting on your own comments and you start, improving at that skill of sharing your frameworks and your thoughts and conclusions, whatever it is. Yeah. So those are 3 key pointers that we gave him to moving forward. We didn't want him to overwhelm him too much. We sent him his way. He committed. He said, I think I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to start in 2 days. So I'm excited to see what he's going to create Definitely, it's a fun road, the 45 Live. It's a great way to kickstart your publishing journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have all these great, grandiose ideas on maybe how our content can look and feel, right? But it does take some reps, and it does take some effort also to get better at our message. Remember, that is literally the first lever that we can pull in our message of what to say. I'll say this. I'll give you like a quick tip, or maybe on like what do you say? I mean, throughout the conversation, I think Fonzie was taking notes, and we already, after the call was over, like we had 10 topics for like 10 days that he could do. And then immediately after, he's like, oh yeah, I can talk about this thing too. And I think this thing too. And as soon as you start creating, other ideas are going to start coming. So a couple of tips, right? Keep in hand some kind of like note-taking, device, either that's a notebook or your phone with a little note that says, 45 live topics, because you're going to come up with an idea. You want to put it down to make sure that that's in your database, right? So you can go ahead and tackle it maybe later that day or the next day. It's going to happen. Very easy framework to start maybe your first 5 times is like, what did you learn today? What happened today in your day, right? And then tell a story of that thing and then connect it with your own business. The example that we shared on the call was, I remember one night, my 2 huskies were out playing in the yard. It looked like they were fighting, but they were not actually fighting. They were playing. And I was just showing the huskies, and I was telling the story on how I got both dogs and how they do that all the time. I related it with my relationship with Fonzie, that sometimes you might seem like we might be arguing or playing or discussing and all these things. But it was actually a positive thing in our business, and a positive thing for people that wanted to hire a team like us, right? And then I explained the why. And that was just a quick example. So if you stick to that framework for the first couple of days, you'll see that it's going to be a lot easier, less friction. Also, a very common question is like, how long do I go for? Or what's the time that I allocate? That's why publishing pyramid and understanding your resources and your time is important, right? For everybody, it's going to be different. But for us, I was like, you know what? I only have 15 minutes before my lunch break, so I can go publish. So that was my anchor. My anchor was my lunch break. I'll recommend find an anchor. It's like before an activity or right after an activity, right? That you can do every single day. And I only have 15 minutes. So I had to come up with the idea. I have to say, and I had to publish it live. There's no editing within those 15 minutes. That was way more than enough. And my clips were always like between 1 minute and 3. At the time, there was no reels or 60-second stuff, or there was none of that. So we just kept it short, somewhere 2 minutes, somewhere 5 minutes. You'll see, you'll come up and like, how long does it take to express a good idea? I don't know. Like you probably know in your industry. Now we have the frameworks and we have like the containers of some platforms. But so if you decide to publish that as a clip instead of live, we recommend live, by the way, on Filter. Because if you add the clip, you might be tempted to delete it. So hopefully, those couple of tips will help you to move the needle forward. And if you are going to go try the 45 Live, please let us know at BizRosco on social media. Mm-hmm. If you do download the resources at bizrosco.co/monetize, there's going to be a text that comes through. That's literally us. Obviously, the first text is not us. It's an automated message. But if you text back, that comes to Fonzie and myself. So if you have any questions, go ahead, put them there. We're happy to help you out. Just like we've been helping these people. We jump on a call. It's completely free at the time. We're not charging for this. We jump on and we help you move the needle forward. And what's in it for us? Well, we're gathering a lot of information because next year we're working on something super special. So that's the cost. Completely free. Let's go.
Your friendship is the cost.
Your friendship. We want to be your friend. Yeah. But I'm excited. We should do a 45 Live challenge next year at some point early.
I know.
Q1.
I mean, as we were having that conversation, I was like, man, I think we're missing an opportunity here inside of our business to productize the 45 Live in a way, right? Like make it an experience, sure, but also have it like, have a product that is a do-it-yourself type of deal that people just go through the course, self-paced.
Yeah.
Then another opportunity that is, I feel like it would be cool to have it as a text message cadence. Like every day you get a little text message reminder that you have to do it, and maybe a little quick video on, a lesson. And the other way is like doing it as a cohort, kind of like what we did the one time that we ran as a challenge, right? Actually, I think it was last year, we did a 45 Live challenge. We had around 100 people sign in for the challenge. It was free when we did it. And then we would meet twice a week for, I think it's like 7 weeks, 45 days is about 7 weeks. We would meet twice a week and we would pretty much give, 2 different quick lessons on what people could improve, work on in their 45 live. And then we would, do Q&As and answer questions. And I thought it was great. It was a good cohort, right? So I think it would be
got really good feedback from the people that were in it.
Yeah. So I think it would be fun to run something like that again with, a new group of people that want to put their message out there.
Also, we're like 3 years wiser. We got 3 more years of experience, which is crazy.
Yeah. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think I know. I always keep leaning like, damn, that was such a good thing.
Yeah. Take it to Virginia with you.
Why didn't we do it again?
Capacity, many things, excuses.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anyways, guys,
if you're interested, before we head out, you're interested, if that sounds like something you would have fun doing, that you would like to do as part of your marketing strategy, going live for 45 days in a row, trying to, use your stories and your concepts, your own IP frameworks to, put them out into the world, help the people that you're trying to help, but at the same time, get some business. Let us know. We would love to help you out with that. If we can put the cohort together again, we would definitely do it.
Yeah.
And, but we want to hear from you if it's interesting or not.
It's 45. It's just 10 minutes a day. That's all. That's all. I promise you. It's going to be easy peasy. Well, no, simple. Right? That's it. Not easy, but simple.
Yeah. It's simple yet not easy.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm super grateful that you have been here with us. Thank you so much for your continued support. And I appreciate you. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Take care.